The superstar actor's idealized first love was back. At the celebration gala, he held her in his arms and casually told me, "She isn't used to the outside hustle and bustle. From now on, you'll live in the secluded estate outside the city. She's afraid of the dark and needs someone at night. Clear out your walk-in closet to make room for her." I didn't say anything. Picking up my pre-packed luggage, I calmly walked towards the door. My agent tried to stop me, but the actor sneered. "Let her go. She'll be begging me to come back, crying, within 3 days anyway." Everyone laughed. Right in front of me, they bet 50 million. They bet I wouldn't last the night and would come back like a desperate soul, kneeling and begging him to take me in. But what they didn't know was that a private jet was already waiting at the airport. This time, I was truly free. "Mr. Marcus, Miss Serena, dinner is ready. It's from your favorite French restaurant, flown in especially." The agent was bowing and scraping, his face plastered with a fawning smile. Marcus, my husband, the celebrated superstar actor, was at that moment gently smoothing the slightly disheveled hair of his idealized first love, Serena, who rested in his arms. He didn't even spare me a glance. I pulled my suitcase, its wheels making a faint sound against the polished marble floor. Everyone in the mansion watched me with an air of anticipation, as if for a show. "Grace, are you really leaving?" Marcus's childhood friend, Jake, a well-known investor in the industry, swirled the wine glass in his hand, his tone full of mockery. "Marcus was just kidding. Did you really take him seriously?" "Yeah, Ms. Grace, you've been with Marcus for 5 years, don't you know his temper?" Mia, another rising young starlet, chimed in with a giggle. "If you leave now, you'll be back obediently within 3 hours, with just one call from Marcus." I stopped and glanced back at them. Young, beautiful, gloating faces, one after another. They were all Marcus's followers, a circle I'd tried to appease for 5 years but could never truly join. Marcus finally deigned to move his gaze from Serena's face and let it fall on me. His eyes were cold and mocking, as if I were a pet throwing a tantrum. "Done with your little scene?" I remained silent. He snorted, pulling Serena closer. "Let her go. I'd like to see how long she lasts without the Mrs. Marcus title, without me." Serena leaned into his embrace, casting a timid glance at me, her voice a barely audible whisper. "Marcus, don't talk about Ms. Grace like that, she'll be hurt." "Is it because I came back that she's unhappy? Perhaps I should just leave." As she spoke, her eyes welled up. Marcus immediately comforted her, his heart aching. "What nonsense are you talking about? It has nothing to do with you. She's just being childish, insisting on spoiling the mood right now." He looked at me, his impatience practically overflowing. "Grace, you'd better think this through. Walk out that door now, and don't ever expect to step foot inside it again." I pulled my suitcase, turned around, and walked towards the door without looking back. Behind me, their boisterous laughter and the clear terms of their bet echoed. 50 million, I bet she'll be back on her knees tonight, begging for forgiveness. I'm in. Ha ha ha, a desperate soul, where else could she go? I pulled open the heavy ornate wooden door. The evening breeze, carrying a chill, stirred my long hair. Behind the door was not the desolate misery they imagined. Instead, there was a black Rolls-Royce, and an elderly butler in white gloves, bowing and waiting. "Miss, welcome home." The roar of the private jet isolated me from all the commotion on the ground. I leaned back in the soft leather seat, watching the city lights outside grow smaller and smaller, a sense of calm washing over me. These past 5 years felt like a bizarre dream. To marry Marcus, I severed ties with my family, gave up the company I'd built from scratch, muted all my ambition, and willingly became a silent shadow behind him. I thought that if I gave my all, I could melt his heart of stone. But I was wrong. The moment his idealized first love returned, my 5 years of effort became nothing but a complete joke. When the plane landed, it was early morning in Paris. The sun was perfect. My assistant, Anna, was already waiting on the tarmac. She handed me a warm lemon water. "Ms. Grace, welcome back." I took a sip, a tart warmth slid down my throat. "How's the company doing?" Anna pushed up her gold-rimmed glasses and gave a crisp report. "Everything's normal. We completed the final acquisition of the new energy project you were interested in last week. Additionally, we've been discreetly acquiring shares in Stardust, as you instructed. We now hold 20%. Stardust was Marcus's talent agency. I looked at the tablet Anna handed me. It showed Marcus's latest updates. Paparazzi photos of him and Serena at the celebration gala had gone viral, making it a trending topic. Hashtag Marcus and Serena reunite, hashtag soulmate goals, hashtag beneath the hashtags. There were countless well wishes. Fans were ecstatic, celebrating that the superstar actor and his idealized first love had finally gotten their wish. Occasionally, a few voices questioned my existence as his legitimate wife, but they were quickly drowned out and deleted. "Ms. Grace, should we deal with it?" Anna asked. "No." I closed the tablet, a cold smile playing on my lips. "Let them stir up trouble. The bigger the fuss, the better. The greater the height, the harder they'll fall." Meanwhile, back in the States, a hungover Marcus woke up in the messy bed, his head pounding. He instinctively reached for the other side of the bed but found only a cold emptiness. He sat up irritably, only then remembering that I had run away yesterday. Ungrateful. He cursed under his breath, picked up his phone, and waited for my call, expecting me to beg for forgiveness. But the phone was eerily silent. No missed calls, no pleading text messages. Nothing at all. He frowned, a vague, inexplicable annoyance stirring within him for the first time. Marcus, Gray still isn't back? Jake, his childhood friend, walked out of the guest room, yawning. "It's almost noon, she's really holding out, huh?" Marcus stared grimly at his phone. The screen displayed my deactivated number. Where could she go? I froze all her debit and credit cards. She doesn't have a penny on her. Nothing serious happened, did it? Someone asked weakly. What could possibly happen? Marcus scoffed, tossing his phone onto the couch. Just a trick to play hard to get. Just wait, she'll find a way to contact me before dark. Serena came over, carrying a bowl of freshly made hangover cure, her voice soft and gentle. "Marcus, don't be angry. Ms. Grace might just be a little upset. I'll give her a call and try to persuade her. It's not safe for a girl to be out alone." As she spoke, she took out her phone and pretended to dial my number. Hearing the busy signal, she feigned surprise and covered her mouth. "Oh, it's off? Marcus, Ms. Grace isn't going to do anything rash, is she?" Marcus's expression darkened even further. He waved his hand irritably. "Enough, just leave her be." Throughout the entire afternoon, Marcus remained restless. Uncharacteristically, he cancelled all his engagements and stayed at the mansion. Every time the phone rang, he'd pick it up instantly, only to hang up in disappointment after seeing the caller ID. Night fell. I still didn't appear. Marcus lost the $50 million bet. The atmosphere grew awkward. "Damn, that woman really has guts," Jake cursed under his breath as he transferred the money. Marcus's phone suddenly vibrated. It was his agent, his voice frantic and distorted. "Marcus, something's happened. Something big. Check the news, fast." Marcus tapped open his news app, and a bold headline popped up. International. Luxury brand CL announced the immediate termination of all collaborations with Mr. Marcus, their spokesperson for the North Market. The entire living room fell silent instantly. CL was his most important and most lucrative endorsement. It brought him nearly 9 figures in income annually and unparalleled international prestige. "What's going on?" Marcus roared into the phone. "Why a unilateral termination? What's the reason?" They just said that your personal image is severely inconsistent with the brand's values of cherishing family and loyalty to love. Cherishing family and loyalty to love? Marcus looked as if he'd heard the biggest joke. Veins bulged on his forehead. "How the hell am I not loyal? Where's PR? Are you all just freeloading? Go deal with this now." The agent was on the verge of tears. "We can't handle it, Marcus. It's a direct notice from CL Global Headquarters. Their stance is firm, no room for negotiation. We can't even get an audience with their senior executives." Marcus, furious, smashed his phone onto the floor, shattering it into pieces. The others in the living room were utterly silent, too scared to utter a sound. Serena's face was pale with fear. She carefully tugged at his sleeve. "Marcus, don't rush, maybe it's just a misunderstanding. Get lost." Marcus flung her away, his eyes bloodshot. "It's all your fault. If you hadn't come back, none of this would be happening." Serena froze, stunned by his roar, tears instantly welling up as she looked at him with a wronged expression. "Marcus, how could you say that to me?" Just then, the screen of Marcus's shattered phone flickered on, eerily. A crisp notification sound rang out. It was an MMS message. Marcus's childhood friend, Jake, inexplicably picked up the remnants of the phone. The screen was cracked like a spiderweb, but the content was still visible. It was a photo. The background of the photo was a high-end restaurant beneath the Eiffel in Paris. A woman, dressed in a haute couture gown, radiating elegance, gracefully raised a champagne flute. Her face held a calm, confident smile, breathtakingly beautiful. Across from her, clinking glasses, was an elderly Caucasian man with blonde hair and blue eyes. The old man's smile was benevolent. Marcus stared fixedly at the woman in the photo. That face was more familiar to him than his own. It was Grace. The he thought couldn't live without him, who should be crying her eyes out in some corner right now. But she wasn't. She looked more radiant than ever. This old man. Jake suddenly gasped, his voice trembling. He's Mr. Lewis, the global CEO of CL. Everyone gasped. Below the photo, there was a small line of text. It was a message from me. First gift, like it? All color drained from Marcus's face instantly. He staggered back a step, colliding with the wine cabinet behind him. The entire collection of fine wines in the cabinet crashed down, shattering on the floor. Crimson wine spread across the floor like blood beneath his feet. He finally realized. The woman he had cast aside like an old shoe, the wife he thought he could control at will, was a sleeping beast he absolutely couldn't afford to provoke. And now, he had awakened her himself. Investigate. Investigate for me. Dig 3 feet deep, but find out everything about Grace. Marcus's roar echoed through the empty mansion, carrying a hint of panic he himself hadn't detected. However, one day passed, then two. His proudly boasted connections and resources seemed to have all failed him at this moment. All the feedback he received was astonishingly consistent. Mr. Marcus, I'm sorry, we can't find anything. Grace's information, after she married you 5 years ago, is completely blank, as if erased by an invisible hand. Her background is top secret. Top secret. These 2 words struck Marcus's heart like a heavy hammer. The termination by CL was just the beginning. Immediately after, the brands he said, cars, watches, skincare products, one after another, rushed to issue statements of contract termination. The reasons were diverse, but the core message was the same: Marcus, he was unworthy. Everyone piled on when he was down. The media, which once fawned over him, began frantically digging up dirt on him, demanding diva behavior, juggling multiple projects, using body doubles. Even photos of him embracing Serena at the celebration gala were dug up again, with the glaring new headline, Marital Infidelity and Moral Turpitude. His fans started leaving in droves, and his commercial value plummeted overnight. He was violently dragged down from the clouds and thrown into the mud. Marcus, what in the world is going on? Serena, seeing the overwhelming negative news online, panicked. Ms. Grace. Who exactly is she? Marcus spun around abruptly, staring intently at her. His gaze was filled with scrutiny and suspicion. What exactly is your purpose in getting close to me? Serena felt a chill run down her spine under his stare, and tears welled up again. Marcus, how could you doubt me? I love you. If hadn't interfered back then, we would have already. Shut up. Marcus interrupted her irritably. Now, just hearing the name Grace sent shivers down his spine. For the first time, he found Serena's tear-streaked face utterly repulsive. He remembered 5 years ago. He was at the height of his fame, while Serena was just a struggling actress. He was attracted by her innocence and unassuming nature, and for a time, he thought it was love. Until appeared. Grace never cried, nor did she make a scene. She simply stood there quietly, enough to make everything around her fade into insignificance. It was his family, eyeing Grace's supposedly ordinary background and clean slate, who pressured him into marrying her. He hated her for destroying his true love. So for these 5 years, he had tormented and humiliated her in every possible way, trying to force her to leave. But now, it all seemed like a joke. What clean slate, what ordinary background. Someone who could have the global CEO of CL personally accompanying them, someone who could turn the entire North entertainment market upside down with a snap of their fingers. Could that be an ordinary person? He had been blind, mistaking a pearl for a fisheye, a tiger for a sick cat. What he had pushed away with his own hands was someone he could never hope to reach in this lifetime. Marcus's troubles continued. But this time, the fire spread to others. Marcus! Help me, Marcus! On the phone, Jake's terrified cries echoed. My dad's company. It's over. The IRS, the Department of Commerce, and the fire department. They all showed up overnight. The bank suddenly called in our loans. Our capital chain is broken. My dad had a heart attack and he's in the ICU. Marcus held the phone, his palm cold. He knew this was Grace's second gift. It's all your fault. Marcus, you caused all this. Jake shrieked hysterically on the other end of the line. You're the one who brought that curse into our circle. That 50 million, I'll give it back to you. I'll give you double, damn it. Can you just make her leave my family alone? The call disconnected. Immediately after, another call came in. It was Mia, the rising young starlet who had mocked me. Her voice was trembling uncontrollably. Marcus. I'm ruined. All my resources have been pulled, and investors are specifically saying they won't put a single penny into any project with me. I've been blacklisted by the entire industry, one after another. That day in the mansion, everyone who had mocked me and participated in that bet, none were spared. Their family businesses, their personal careers, suffered devastating blows within a matter of days. The friends who once surrounded Marcus like satellites, now turned into vengeful demons. Their calls and messages came flooding in like a snowstorm. The content, which start Dia's pleas for help, turned into insults, and finally, venomous curses. Marcus, you jinx. May you die a horrible death. I'll haunt you even after I'm dead. Marcus's world had completely collapsed. He was isolated. Those who once called him brother and shared their darkest secrets now shunned him like a plague. In the empty mansion, only he and Serena remained. Serena watched his despondent state, a flicker of shrewd calculation in her eyes. She cautiously moved closer, embracing his arm. Marcus, don't be afraid, you still have me. Even if the whole world turns against you, I won't leave your side. Marcus stared at her numbly. Watching her sincere face, his stomach churned. He suddenly felt that he had lived his past 30 years like a fool, manipulated by one woman after another. Late at night, Marcus lay in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. He hadn't closed his eyes in 3 days and 3 nights. Beside him, Serena, thinking he was asleep, quietly picked up her phone and slipped into the bathroom. A moment later, her voice, low but barely concealing excitement, drifted from the bathroom. Hello? Is this Ms. Grace's assistant? This is Serena. I want to discuss a deal with Ms. Grace. Marcus's body stiffened abruptly. I know you want to take down Marcus. Serena's voice carried a hint of subtle triumph. I can help you. I know many of his secrets, a lot of dirt, enough to ensure he never recovers. My terms are simple. After it's done, give me a sum of money and a lead role in a major Hollywood production. I know that for Ms. Grace, this is just a small favor, isn't it? The bathroom door was kicked open with a bang. Serena whirled around in terror, seeing a pair of bloodshot eyes, like those of a demon from hell. Marcus? The phone in her hand clattered to the floor. Marcus walked towards her, step by step, a strange smile on his face. A Hollywood lead role? My dear Serena, your ambition truly knows no bounds. No, that's not it. Marcus, let me explain. Serena recoiled in terror, backing up until her back hit the cold wall, with nowhere left to go. Explain? Marcus seized her by the throat, pressing her firmly against the wall. Explain how for these past 5 years, you've been playing the innocent facade in front of me while entangled with other wealthy patrons? Explain how your so-called reunion was merely you coming back to me, the rebound guy, after your previous wealthy patron dumped you. Or explain how you were just about to sell your lover for a good price. Serena's face turned a purplish red. She stared with wide, terrified eyes, her hands futilely clawing at Marcus's arms. She couldn't fathom how Marcus knew all this. Marcus seemed to read her thoughts. He released his grip, letting her collapse to the floor, coughing violently. He bent down and picked up the phone from the floor. On the screen was a newly received message. The sender was the deactivated number he would never forget. The message contained a compressed file. The file name was Serena's 5. Marcus opened the file. Inside were countless photos, videos, and recordings. They documented Serena's 5 years, how she maneuvered between different men, and how she used her innocent facade to gain resources and money. At the end of the file, there was one more sentence. Third gift. You're welcome. Marcus looked at the miserable Serena on the floor and suddenly burst into laughter. His laughter was sharp, filled with despair. He laughed at his own blindness, at his utter foolishness. It turned out that his idealized first love, whom he was so proud of, was nothing but someone else's discarded trash. And he, for the sake of this trash, had personally thrown away the most precious treasure in the world. I destroyed everything Marcus had. His career, his friends, his so-called love. Just as he had ruthlessly crushed my dignity before. I thought I would be happy, but watching the man who was once so arrogant, kneeling on the ground like a mad dog, tearing at the truth he so adamantly refused to love, I felt nothing. The pleasure of revenge was far less satisfying than I'd imagined. Perhaps because he was no longer worthy of being my opponent. Ms. Grace, Marcus used all his connections to find your estate address in Paris. Anna's voice pulled me back from my thoughts. He booked the fastest flight and is on his way. I put down my coffee cup, looking at the blooming rose garden outside the window. Understood. Do we need to handle him? Anna asked. Her handling had many meanings. It could mean making him disappear without a trace on his way here. I shook my head. No need. Let him come. Some things, it's time to settle them face to face. I want him to see with his own eyes what exactly it is that he lost. When arrived, he was gaunt, unshaven, and his eyes were deeply sunken. The expensive suit hung loosely on him, as if stolen. The once dazzling superstar actor was now less impressive than the estate's gate guard. He walked through the vast rose garden, past the magnificent fountain. With every step, his face grew paler. He probably never imagined that I would live in a chateau resembling a palace. Every brick, every tile here, spoke of a social status he could never hope to attain. He finally saw me in front of the chateau's main building. I was seated at an outdoor long table, conducting a remote video conference with several blonde, blue-eyed business titans. The entire conversation was in fluent, confident English, filled with an air of command. It was a side of me he had never seen. He stood frozen, like a mortal who had accidentally trespassed into the domain of gods, utterly bewildered. The meeting concluded. I closed my laptop, picked up my tea, and glanced indifferently at him. Can I help you? My tone was as if I were addressing an unimportant stranger. Marcus's lips trembled. He wanted to speak, but no words came out. He just stared at me, his eyes swirling with regret, pain, and a hint of humble pleading. Grace. After a long silence, he finally choked out my name, his voice hoarse as if scraped by sandpaper. I cut him off. If you're here to apologize, don't bother. I stood up and smoothed down my dress. I'm not interested in hearing it. No. He rushed forward eagerly, reaching for my hand, but abruptly stopped half a step away from me. He didn't dare touch me. Grace, I know I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. He spoke incoherently, like a drowning man desperately grasping for a last straw. Those 5 years. I'm sorry. I was a jerk, I was blind. Serena. I have nothing to do with her anymore. I kicked her out. I swear, I'll never see her again. I looked at him, finding it somewhat amusing. What you do with her, what concern is it of mine? Marcus, haven't you figured out the situation yet? Whatever was between us, it ended a long time ago. It's not over. He retorted emotionally, his eyes frighteningly red. We're not divorced. You're still my wife. Grace, please, just one more chance, okay? Let's start over. Start over? I laughed as if I'd heard the funniest joke of the century. Marcus, what makes you think I'd take back something I've already thrown away? His body trembled violently, all color draining from his face. Trash. He murmured the word repeatedly, his eyes vacant. Just then, a tall, imposing figure approached from behind me. He casually draped a cashmere shawl over my shoulders, the gesture intimate and possessive. It's windy out here, why aren't you wearing more? His voice was low and gentle, in fluent, standard Chinese. It was my fiancé, Alex, the only son of CL CEO Mr. Lewis. The old man who clinked glasses with me in the photo was just a smokescreen. The real Alex was young, handsome, and incredibly powerful. He kissed my forehead as if no one else was there, then turned his gaze to Marcus, who stood stiffly to the side. His eyes instantly turned cold and sharp. And this is? I linked my arm through his, a happy smile spreading across my face. Just an insignificant passerby. Darling, let's go inside. I'm a little hungry. Of course. Alex affectionately tapped my nose, then embraced me and turned to walk into the chateau. We walked past Marcus without another glance, as if he were merely a lifeless statue. Behind us, a choked sob, suppressed to its absolute limit, like a trapped beast, broke through. Marcus didn't leave. He rented a cabin on a hillside across from the estate. Every day, he sat on the cabin's balcony, using high-powered binoculars like a twisted voyeur, watching me and me stroll in the garden, watching play the piano for me, watching us embrace and kiss on the terrace. It was as if he was torturing himself, slowly and repeatedly, in this manner. Anna asked me more than once if I wanted him gone. I refused every time. Let him watch. I want him to see clearly the happiness he forfeited. This was a crueler punishment than simply killing him. A month later was Alex and my engagement party. The celebration was held on my private island, filled with guests, a picture of ultimate luxury. The world's top elites were all there. I wore a diamond-studded gown, personally designed by Alex, and walked arm in arm with him, receiving everyone's blessings. I smiled brightly and confidently. It was a look I hadn't worn in 5 years. Halfway through the party, an uninvited guest burst in. It was Marcus. He had, by some unknown means, managed to sneak onto a guest's yacht and arrived at the island. He broke through security, running towards me like a madman. He looked even more haggard than the last time I saw him. In those eyes that once charmed countless people, only blood-red madness remained. Grace! He shrieked my name. You can't marry him. You can't. The music stopped. All the guests looked over, their faces showing surprise and curiosity. Alex shielded me behind him, his face grim. As he looked at the intruder. Get him out of here. No. Don't touch me. Marcus flung off the approaching bodyguards, and with a thud, he dropped straight to his knees before me, in front of everyone. This man, once so proud and arrogant, was now humbled to the dust. Grace, I beg you. His tears fell in large drops onto the ground. Don't marry him. Come back to me. I love you, Grace, I've always loved you, I just didn't realize it myself. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you. My life, everything I own, it's all yours. He cried out, tearing open his shirt, revealing his emaciated chest. There, a brand new, still bleeding tattoo. My initials, LXC, I had it etched closest to my heart. He smiled at me through his tears, like a child presenting a precious gift. Grace, my heart, it's always been yours, from the very beginning. A ripple of murmur spread through the crowd. Everyone watched me with complex expressions. There was sympathy, pity, and the thrill of watching a spectacle. I watched him silently, watching his self-staged drama of profound affection. Then, I let out a soft laugh. Pfft, my laughter, like a bucket of ice water, extinguished the last flicker of hope in Marcus's eyes. His expression froze. I looked down at him, kneeling on the ground, and spoke slowly. Marcus, do you know? 5 years ago, when I first married you, I also got your name tattooed on my body. On my ankle. Because back then, I naively believed I would walk through life with you. I lifted my skirt, revealing my smooth, jade-like ankle. It was perfectly clean, nothing there. Later, I had it removed. Because I realized, some people just aren't worthy. Marcus's body began to tremble uncontrollably. I continued. As for the love you speak of. My smile deepened, but it didn't reach my eyes. Your love is too cheap. So cheap, it makes me sick. With that, I stopped looking at him. I turned, stood on my tiptoes, and pressed a sweet kiss on Alex's lips. Darling, let's continue. Don't let a fly ruin our good mood. Alex's eyes were filled with tenderness and adoration. He embraced me tightly, declaring in a voice the whole world could hear. Now, please allow me to place this ring, symbolizing my complete love, on my fiancé. Amidst everyone's cheers and applause, a massive pink diamond ring was slowly slipped onto my ring finger. It sparkled brilliantly under the lights, reflecting a dazzling gleam, and painfully stung the eyes of someone behind me. Marcus was dragged out by the bodyguards. He no longer struggled, no longer shrieked. He just stared at me, watching me wear another man's ring, watching me kiss another man. His gaze shifted from madness to despair, finally settling into a dead, silent gray. Like a stagnant pool, incapable of stirring any ripples ever again. After the engagement party, I received a package. Inside was a set of divorce papers. Marcus had already signed them. His signature was sprawling and vigorous, yet it carried a subtle, almost imperceptible tremor. Along with the papers was a cashier's check. 50 million. It was the bet I had won from him. The accompanying note contained just one sentence. I wish you happiness. We're even. I looked at the cashier's check, then casually tossed it and the divorce papers into the fireplace. Orange flames instantly devoured them. Even? No. Marcus, from the moment you cast me aside, there was nothing left between us. 3 years later. We now bring you a financial news update. Ms. Grace, CEO of Sterling, and her husband, Mr. Alex, jointly announced today the establishment of the world's largest children's charity foundation, with an initial endowment of $10 billion. On the TV screen, Alex and I held hands tightly, beaming with smiles. My belly was slightly rounded, I was 5 months pregnant. Alex carefully watched over me, his eyes brimming with tenderness. On the same day, citizens captured footage of former artist Marcus, found drunk on the streets late at night, disoriented and dressed in rags, looking no different from a homeless man. It's reported that after divorcing his ex-wife Grace 3 years ago, he never recovered, squandered his fortune, and now lives in destitution. The news segment then shifted to a dirty alleyway. On screen, a man so thin he was barely recognizable, clutching an empty liquor bottle, was crouched beside a garbage can. His face and body were covered in grime. Only a faded tattoo on his chest, barely discernible, still showed 2 letters. I picked up the remote control and turned off the TV. What were you watching? Alex walked over, carrying a plate of sliced fruit, and pulled me into his embrace. Nothing. Leaning against his warm chest, feeling the powerful kicks of our baby within me, I smiled contentedly. I was just thinking about what a good name for the baby would be. Alex tenderly kissed the top of my head. Anything will be perfect. As long as you name them, it'll be the most beautiful name in the world. Outside the window, the sun shone brightly, and all was peaceful. Everything from the past was nothing but a fleeting memory. This time, I was truly free. And I had found my true happiness. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.